talk about this issue first, which is Occupy Wall Street there for Democrats? Are we the left-wing version of the Tea Party?
Right.
No. The Tea Party has very specific officials they want to elect, and we don't. Occupy Wall Street does not want to be co-opted by Democrats. I mean, the Democrats are in this great position right now where they get to go on TV, right?
Right.
Whereas most of the people from Occupy Wall Street do not. And they can very easily say, oh, well, this is a clear statement that they're sending to the country. People are willing to put their bodies on the line to elect us. Right?
Right.
And that's not it. I mean, when did Occupy Wall Street start? It started under the Obama administration for a very specific reason. You look at Obama's economic team, and it's the same team that put us in this fucking mess. I mean, it's filled with Goldman Sachs execs. Jesus Christ. How much clearer can it be that Occupy Wall Street is against them?
Right.
But then something in Atlanta. What?
No. I actually want to talk about this because there's been updates since it happened, and it's very interesting.
So in Atlanta, what happened? Well, the good thing in Atlanta is apparently they renamed the park Troy Davis after Troy Davis, which is pretty cool.
That is very cool.
And one of the only politicians you can ever have sympathy for, John Lewis.
Yes.
Showed up to speak at Occupy Wall Street. And let's just go through it in the order we heard it.
Okay.
That's what we heard.
Yes.
And I saw Digby post it, and John Lewis immediately turned down to speak. Here's why this is bad. John Lewis isn't just a politician. John Lewis was fucking beaten during the civil rights movement.
He's a civil rights icon.
I mean, he's a hero.
When people look at John Lewis, they think of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, John Lewis, and he is pretty much always on the right side of everything.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, he really is one of the good guys.
He's the model of what good can happen when a real citizen becomes a politician.
Absolutely. Not just a citizen, but like an activist.
Right.
Now, what's more of the story?
So, originally what happened was that how the Occupy movement's work is, because they're a purely democratic movement, no one can skip the line.
Yeah.
And when John Lewis approached the group, they were doing a general assembly. They were dealing with matters. So what they said was, you can't speak right now, but you can come back later and speak to the group. So John Lewis was interviewed, and people asked him, was he offended by being turned away? And he said, it's okay. They didn't really deny me. What happened was that protesters decided he could return after their agenda items had been completed.
Yeah.
But they said, look, we're not here for the Democratic Party. We're not here so you can skip the line and get on a soapbox and tell us to go all vote for Obama. We're not here for the Republican Party. We're not here for any political party.
Right.
You have the right to speak because this is a democratic movement.
Right.
But you have to speak when it's your turn.
Yeah.
And John Lewis just didn't have time. So when he was asked about this, that's why he didn't launch into a tirade. And he said, it's okay. They didn't deny me. They just said I had to wait my turn.
So not that big a deal.
Right. Now, people were offended because it was like, my God, if you could learn anything from civil disobedience and protest, John Lewis is willing to speak to you. Let the man speak. But I do respect how Occupy is so committed to true democracy that, like, Dylan Ratigan showed at Occupy Wall Street and thought he was going to skip the line. And then when they said he couldn't do it, he was like, right on, because he respected that they were a truly democratic movement.
When I show up to a comedy show and they say, hey, the drum circle's on first, I'd say, fuck you, let me on. And then I'm going home before your stupid drum circle comes up.
Right.
Well, me and Talib Kweli showed up. They're like, we're going to finish the General Assembly. And then there were some drums. And then you guys, and I was like, right on.
Yep.
Drums were here before I was.
This is how the Occupy movement works. You are no one at the Occupy movement. There's no leader. There's nobody who gets preferential treatment. But at the same time, everybody's a leader. So when you do get to speak, when it's your turn, you have a fully attentive audience.
Well, that's what was so interesting about the John Lewis thing is you had the guy who was speaking and running the General Assembly, bring up John Lewis. And then the first person that denied him was just some random dude in the audience. And the people's mic was repeating after him.
Right.
And he opened by saying,
I respect.
I first want to say
Mr.
that I
Lewis,
respect,
yeah.
and everyone repeated it. John Lewis's service, but
But right.
this is a democratic, blah, 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 blah.
And they were dealing with matters before John Lewis arrived. Now, your first immediate response to that is you want to get angry and you want to say you should respect someone like John
Especially
Lewis.
for liberals, because I think there are a lot of liberals right now that it would be easier to ignore the Occupy Wall Street movement. Even though they're doing something, it's just you're just waiting to find out something bad about them so you can be like, all right, see, that's too far.
And people jumped all over this. Even supporters of Occupy Wall Street were like, guys, too far.
Right.
But then when you heard the full story, as so often happens, everybody immediately reacts and then we get all the details and we're like, oh, okay. Once you understand with all of these details, it made me respect the movement more. Just because it was like nobody was disrespectful to him when they turned him away.
Right.
They said he can come back, but right now somebody else has the floor.
Yeah.
And you're no more important than anybody else. Now, I think Martin Luther King Jr. would have really liked that. I think he would have been like, yeah, I like that no one has more value than the next person standing beside them.
No, let me go speak. I'm Martin Luther King.
And I have somewhere to be, bitches.
Probably a prison.
Is what he would have said.
Stick it up for your rights.
Yeah, but I really think it's a beautiful thing. And, from the sound of it, so does John Lewis. He wasn't mad. He said, it's okay. They didn't deny me.
Right.
The man has seen the most important grassroots civil rights campaign emerge ever in this country. He's not going to discredit the next one,
Hey, you know what Occupy Wall Street didn't do? Sick dogs on me. And beat me with nightclubs.
The man did that. The establishment. And Occupy Wall Street is against that.
So I'm for that.
Yeah. Let's close with talking about some real assholes, Jamie.
For some reason, I rested the microphone behind me.
Did you get tangled in wires?
I did.
Are you okay?
It's a little nerve-wracking, but I'm all right now.
So, at the Board of Trade in Chicago.
Guys, hold on. If anyone has any weapons in their hands, put them down. You can't be near anything that you could hurt yourself with or hurt someone next to you with.
Which, by the way, the Board of Chicago is where the Tea Party was born. Rick Santelli, who's another real asshole, on the floor,
on CNN,
was saying,
right?
I'm sick of bailing out these people who bought mortgages that they couldn't really afford. Yada yada yada. A real man of the people, Rick Santelli. That's how grassroots this movement is. It took a fucking anchor on a new show that shills for major corporations to be like, I'm sick of
black
poor
people.
Yeah. So again, we go back to the Board of Trade. They taped up a message in their window for the organizers of Occupy Chicago. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this, the Occupy movement has a slogan, if you will, that says, we are the 99%. Meaning we're the majority of Americans
who all being fucked.
Yeah, who don't benefit from the rigged economic system we have right now. So the traders posted a message that said, we are the 1%.
On the window.
Thanks for clarifying that, boys. We were a little confused.
Kudos to Occupy Chicago for not just waiting out there with baseball bats.
Well, that was really...
everyone to leave.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the reason that the Occupy movement has gained so much legitimacy is because it's a peaceful movement.
Right.
And no matter how vicious the cops are with macing and tasering and pepper spraying and penning them in, they just keep coming back. And they just keep sitting down and saying, we're here again.
Yeah.
Arrest us.
London, block the bridge.
Yep. London, David Cameron's working very hard to privatize the NHS system, which is their healthcare system that we wanted.
Private healthcare does so well here.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Americans want the NHS system, know. So they occupied a bridge, sat down, and refused to leave. This is what needs to be happening everywhere. And the fact that Occupy Chicago didn't respond to being baited by these traders, you guys won. You absolutely won. Because guess what? They look like the assholes.
Yeah.
That image was put up everywhere, and that got you guys more support. So thank you, traders. If you guys keep doing that, Occupy wins, you know? And Occupy, if you stay peaceful, you win. So on that note, we're out of time, Jamie.